I think you should hear this.
Welcome to I Think You Should Hear This, podcast exploring people's journeys of growth, adversity, and self-discovery. Today, I have with me, all the way from Estepona, Spain, Bronson, Interlandi. Bronson, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Josh. Really appreciate you having me on the podcast. I've been watching and following and been inspired by your growth and the people that you've been interviewing on your podcast, and it's been great to see and learn and just absorb all the value and the wisdom. So thank you for having me on all the way from Europe. So we've got a little bit of a time difference, obviously, but we're making it work. It's currently midday here in Estepona. And what is it there, like 8:30 at night there?
About 8:30, yeah. So it's not a bad time for me, to be honest. So that's good. And thanks for... Oh, yeah, you go.
No. I was just going to say, I'm an open book with my whole journey. So don't be afraid to dive in. There's obviously been some challenges in the past, but that's obviously made me who I am today. And like anyone, when we go through challenges, we're going to build that resilience, and so much good can come from that. It's either going to make you or break you. So I'd love to speak more into that, but you throw any questions at me, mate. I'm happy to answer, and we'll see where the convo goes.
Yeah, perfect. I think there is just so much benefit to hearing from other people's stories, because so often, especially as men, we think we're the only ones going through our struggles. And so I think it's really important to lead with vulnerability as someone who's doing the work like yourself. I'm sure you've witnessed it and you've felt it yourself, where someone else leads the way, they share, I'm not alone here, and it makes you feel more comfortable to share, or you can learn from other people's experiences as well. And I know we've both made enough mistakes that if we can give some wisdom to other people to stop them from doing it themselves, I think that there'd be a lot to take away. I know that people still need to touch the stove themselves, but yeah, if we can save some pain, that'd be great.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm all about helping others learn from my mistakes if I can. But like you said, some of us do need to make those mistakes ourselves, and like you said, touch the stove and feel the pain a little bit and learn from that. But yeah, look, if I had someone like me to look up to when I was younger and learn from their mistakes, I think I would have avoided a lot of the bigger mistakes that I made. So yeah, look, there's so much value in other people's journeys, other people's stories, because if they're willing to share how they navigated through those mistakes, it's definitely going to be a benefit for someone. Someone is going to see and hear that and go, oh, when I come across that situation, I'll kind of remember this guy Josh or this guy Bronson and his story and where he ended up because he made that mistake, he made that decision. They don't want to go down that path. So they'll kind of have context. They'll kind of be able to make a better decision because they've seen or heard someone else go through it before. So yeah, so much value there.
Yeah, perfect. So as I touched on earlier, you're currently in Spain at the moment, and we'll get to how you found yourself there. But you grew up in Victoria. So tell us where you grew up. What was that like for you? Obviously, Italian family. Tell us the story about young Bronson, the one, said that needed the a bit older Bronson, the wisdom.
Yeah. Look, I grew up on a dairy farm in South Gippsland and had a very strong family connection. So a lot of support, a lot of love, a lot of hard work, obviously, on the dairy farm. We lived probably 20, 30 minutes out of town. So it was a little bit isolated, but, it was great growing up on the farm. Plenty of space, dirt bikes, climbing trees, tree houses, all the stuff that you can think of that you do on a farm as a kid. But yes, we did work hard. We worked as a team, a family unit, and there was all that support there. But I think one thing that was missing was understanding our emotions back then, because my grandparents and my parents weren't ever taught about showing their emotions and being emotionally intelligent in that way. And that's fine. Like that, what they were taught is what they had. So we never got taught that. So when it came to big emotions, it was always like, okay, that feels hard. Let's push it down, suppress it, and get on with the job. Like, we need to get this done. The cows have to be milked twice a day. The fences have to be fixed. This has to be done. We've got to keep moving. So just push those big emotions aside. So, we managed through that. And obviously through the challenges on the farm with the seasons, the droughts, the wet seasons, it was very hard financially. So obviously seeing how tough it was financially for my parents and my grandparents uh, was challenging, but that's all we knew. We just thought that, okay, money is hard to come by, and when money does come, it quickly goes out again because it has to be spent on maintaining the farm. So there's, the money story things that go deep here. And this is all the stuff that I've learnt in the last few years, and I'm 38 now, turning 39 this year. And so in my 30s, I've started to understand my money story and where all that's come from. And as I get into the story, it'll unravel, because when I was old enough to, I suppose, move out of home and go traveling and, finish my apprenticeship as a plumber and all that sort of stuff, my eyes were opened and my mind was open to the big wide world when myself and my mates did our first Euro trip tour. And it was 10 months overseas throughout Europe. And it was mind blowing. It was a life changing experience for the good, because it just gave me so much, such a bigger vision, I suppose. And then when I came back to the small country town in Victoria, it was too small. So had to get out of there, had to get to the city. And, you know, you get thrown into the big city lights. I was that country kid, early 20s, and I was just magnetized to the hype and, the nightclubs and the girls and the fast cars, and everything was like so fast paced, but it was exciting. It was risky, and I didn't have that in my childhood. So it was all new, and it was exciting. So yes, we worked hard. I still worked hard because I had that work ethic, but I also played hard as well. There was weekends where there was lots of recreational drugs, there was lots of alcohol, there was lots of, the girls, the strippers. What we were just like, myself and my mates were just open to anything really. We had no limits. And yet come Monday through to Friday, we still worked hard. We still worked hard in our trades. But then we also played hard on the weekends. But there came a point where I kind of felt like I was burning the candle at both ends. I was working hard, I was playing hard, I was training at the gym every day, I was playing footy. I wanted to be healthier and stronger for footy. Um, then we can go into that whole environment at the footy club. Uh, the country footy clubs, most don't have the best culture, because there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of junk food, there's a lot of, like speaking down to women, treating women like an object. Like, if I can go into detail, it's like, what's the goss this week at training? Who did you pick up on the weekend? What girl? And it was just all this focus on the female just being an object, and I kind of didn't feel right about that. But I was just immersed in that, and that was the thing. Tuesdays and Thursday trainings, and Saturday the game. So you've got this culture of drinking, junk food, and speaking down to women, essentially. So that was a bit of a toxic environment to be in, but I didn't know anything else. I'd been playing at a country footy club since I was like 13 or 14, and that was the thing to do in the country. So putting that aside, once I moved to Melbourne, we were still traveling back to the country to play footy. So of course, there came a time when we were going out so much that the boys at the club wanted to get involved in recreational drugs. So that was a thing. Like, who's getting it? Where's it coming from? Who can get it? And I happened to have a contact in Melbourne that I just met randomly, and I became the guy that knew the guy. So then, of course, like, we're going out. Yep, I can get it, and it was mainly just cocaine. So it wasn't like really heavy stuff. I didn't feel very comfortable with the heavier stuff. Like, you can look at ice, you can look at heroin, you can look at some pretty heavy drugs, but it was usually just cocaine. Because I think now that I think of it, it was like you could still function come Monday. You could still recover quick enough and function Monday and be fine for work, and then have a bit of fun on Saturday night. So cocaine
Was it
became like
accepted as much back then?
it was
Because
everywhere.
now it's just like everyone does it. And
Yeah.
like with Coke, it's just like, it's just Coke. They'll be right Monday. They can drive. Like, it's all good. Is it the same 10 or so years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was, I think at one stage, speed was a very common recreational drug, and weed. But then cocaine started being a bit more popular. But of course, looking at the price of it, it is more expensive. So you didn't have everyone taking it. So if you were earning good money, you could afford it. And a lot of the tradies were earning good money. So of course, that was the choice. But it just rolled on from that. It just snowballed from that because I knew the guy. Then I was just getting it for myself and my mates. And then it just grew from there. And it wasn't until, like, it didn't become a thing. It didn't become a big thing until I started my first business. It was a startup, and it was so challenging to grow that business. It was healthy vending machines with healthy snacks and drinks. And it was just going down financially. Like, it just cost so much to run. The overheads were too high for the money that was coming back from it. So that business ended up going through bankruptcy because it just didn't work financially. Going through bankruptcy was the first, I suppose, failure, or the first really stressful financial situation that I'd been in. And that put me in a situation where I made the ultimate worst decision, because I was told that I was only allowed to earn, I think it was $55,000 a year. And if I earned any more than that, they would take it from me. Everything was stripped back. So I wasn't allowed to own anything. Anything I had, they would take and sell and pay back the creditors. So it was really restrictive, right? It was like a financial prison in a way. And then through that stressful, traumatic situation, the opportunity was presented, or maybe it was always there, I just didn't see it. And of course, because I knew the guy and I was going through that situation, this silver platter was put in front of me, and this opportunity, it's like, hey, you can actually earn money from this thing that you've been doing on the weekends. You've got the network, you've got the social skills. You can actually grow this as a side business, a cash business. And he showed me examples. He showed me the cash. And it was just put in front of me. And it was a very lucrative deal at the time. It was like the perfect storm, or the worst storm at the time, going through bankruptcy and then being offered this cash opportunity. And it just flowed naturally. And then all of a sudden, my clientele, or my network, grew from just the mates at the footy club to wider. Like, I'm not going to drop names, but AFL footballers, lawyers, barristers, real estate agents, business owners. Because why this clientele? TV personalities, news reporters. Why this type of people? Because it's an expensive choice, a drug choice. So these people are making good money and they like to have a good time on the weekends. So of course the network grew into that clientele, and then it just felt so organic. There wasn't any resistance. There was no violence. I wasn't mixing with a violent crew or anything like that. I didn't have people above me telling me what to do or how to do it. It was literally just a thing that grew organically. And I thought at the time, well, if these successful people are doing it, it mustn't be that bad. Like maybe this thing that I'm doing isn't so bad. So I didn't have like this sense of, oh, what if I get caught?
Mhm.
Like I just didn't know how bad the consequences could be because it just was so normal. You go out to
Yeah,
nightclubs in Melbourne and everyone's doing it.
like these
So
well-respected people in the public are doing it.
yeah,
How can it be
yeah,
a bad thing? Yeah.
that's that's it. Yeah. And I got really good at living a double life. I got really good at lying and painting the picture that everything was fine. And I think that came from, and this is where we tap into the money story from when I was younger, was like growing up on the farm, there was a lot of financial stress. Money wasn't available and it didn't flow. So, of course, when this opportunity came and I was in this bankruptcy situation, I went to grab these opportunities because it was so different. It was so unknown. It was like, well, I haven't never had this before. But geez, imagine what I could do with this money. I could, you know, um, have these things that I never had when I was growing up. So then you're surrounding yourself with people with materialistic things, the cars, the houses, the expensive watches and things, and the the brand names, all that sort of stuff. And of course, I got uh, sucked into that lifestyle, and it became about the things, the materialistic things. Um, so it was a trap that I got caught in because of my bad decision. I made that decision. I made the wrong decision at the time, but in the moment, it felt okay. It felt like I needed to do it. I felt like I had no other choice. And then we can tap back into the whole emotional intelligence thing. Going through bankruptcy, I didn't have the emotional intelligence to communicate my emotions. I I didn't know how to tell people, my closest people, my family and friends, that I was actually so stressed about this business that's just gone under. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to navigate bankruptcy. I didn't know how to navigate the debt collectors. Like I didn't know how to tell people that I was failing financially. So I didn't know how to manage my emotions. And at times I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't know how to tell people. So it became like that thing where I just suppressed those emotions. Keep moving on. Try and make it work. Keep working. So obviously
Did
the
anyone
work
know?
ethic.
Did you tell any
Very,
family?
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Kept it a total secret, and just literally made up stories that the money was coming from somewhere else. I had this investment, or I had this side hustle, this side business, or um, I don't know how many stories I came up with, but I made it sound so convincing that no one questioned it.
Oh, but
Right?
they did know about the bankruptcy.
A few knew about the bankruptcy, just
Yeah.
my close, probably just family.
Yeah.
Um, but geez, anyone else like friends, or from what they knew, it was working fine, and
Yeah.
I'd either sold it, and that was another story. I'd sold it. I sold the business, and that's how I was able to afford that car and that motorbike, or that the things. So of course they're not going to say, "Oh, are you lying to me?" They're not going to say that. They're just going to be like, "Oh, that's good for you," and just move on. They're not going to dig
Mm.
any deeper. But yeah, behind the scenes, it was a mess. It was a complete mess. And yeah, it got to the point where I kept this thing going, knowing that I needed to stop at some point because I'd married Alice. We'd just had our first baby, and I was literally lying to Alice. I was lying to Alice about where the money was coming from. And I got so convincing to her. She always said that she felt uncomfortable with the things, the materialistic things, but I was just so, I don't know, I wouldn't say like forceful, but I was like convincing. I was like, nah, it's all good. I've got it sorted out. Don't worry about anything. I'll take care of us. And whenever the topic came up, I'd shut it down. I'd change the subject. Uh, and that was the worst thing. I couldn't even communicate what I was going through in this double life to my new wife. So, looking back, this is, what are we talking, like 2018, 2019, when we got married and then had Xavier. Xavier was 4 months old when the door got busted through. When the drug squad came through, busted down the door, and it all come crashing down. It all fell to pieces. You know, in that moment, that was the moment that I realized, fuck, I've fucked up here. Like, I've totally fucked up here. And it was like a movie, when the door gets busted open, police come forcing through the door, guns out, forcing me on the ground, thinking that I had weapons in the house because, yeah, I had a gun license for the farm. And we
Mm.
had shotguns and rifles at the farm because that's what we always did on the farm. So, of course, holding a gun license, they just assumed that I had guns in the house. I didn't. Never had any reason to. But, of course, they've come in thinking the worst. So being confronted with that, and the first time I've ever been in trouble with the police, was full on. So everything just went blank. Everything went quiet. And it was just this ringing noise in the background. And it was like one of those movies when there's like an action scene and there's heaps of gunshots and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like this ringing noise in the background. That's what it felt like. And I couldn't really hear what they were saying. They were just forcing me onto the ground and put the handcuffs on me. And from that moment, that was when it all turned upside down. And I had to try and navigate through that. I had to figure out how do I survive through this? They obviously raided the house. They took me away. No connection or phone calls with family for, I think it was nearly a week. And it
Are
was in
you
the
able to
middle of,
say what they found at the house? If there was anything
well,
there?
yeah, they didn't find anything at the house. I didn't have anything at the house because, you know, I suppose one thing that I got taught by the person that was supplying me was don't have it around. Don't keep it
Mm.
around in your home. So I didn't. The one piece of advice that I listened to. So of course, when they did find where it was such a small amount that it was, and I'm not saying that any amount is good, but I wasn't a big fish. I was a very small fish in a big pond. And the amount that they found was 1 cup. Like if you think of when you're baking and you've got 1 cup, which is 250 grams, that's how
Mm.
much they found. Okay. And it might sound like a lot to some people, but if you've been around it, it's not much. And what they tried to do was hit me with the commercial quantity charge, which is 250 grams and above. Now, they throw everything at you and they try and make it stick. So I had to navigate through that and show that I wasn't a bad person, show that this thing grew out of desperation from the bankruptcy and that it was a means to an end. That, yes, I did have every intention to stop this thing at some point. I just didn't know how or didn't know when. But showing remorse and showing that I wasn't a bad person, showing that it was a first time offense, showing that it wasn't a huge amount, like I wasn't some massive dealer, and that my network, not that I told anyone who the network was, but my network of people weren't uh,
Criminals or something.
criminals. They weren't criminals. They were just everyday people, successful people, well respected people in the community. So I wasn't dealing with a rough crowd. So
Like if you're
being
involved with
honest,
bikies or something, it'd be a different story.
exactly. If they
Yeah.
know that you're involved with bikies or a criminal enterprise, they will throw everything at you and they will destroy you. But being honest and open about um, how I came about being in this situation um, helped me a lot, and that was the first time that I had to be honest about it because I was literally in handcuffs. Like, what am I going to do? I have
Mm.
to, I have to explain how this fucking happened. And I didn't have any intention to hurt anyone. I didn't have any intention to make this a big long-term thing. So yeah, that is where it sort of ended up. And I thought that bankruptcy was the worst thing ever. But when this happened, then I knew that I was at the bottom of the barrel.
Mm.
Then I knew that I'd hit rock bottom. And being thrown in prison, it ended up being 2.5 years through the COVID lockdown. So there was no in-person visits. There was no contact. There was no face-to-face contact, in-person contact with family.
This is why
Pretty
you've
much,
got a
pretty,
4-month-old as well.
yep, yep. Xavier
Yeah.
was 4 months old. So from that night that they busted down the door, June 10, 2020, never forget that date. I still get fucking tingles now. But from that date, I didn't see Xavier and Alice for 2.5 years.
Are you able to say how they managed to find you?
Yeah, yeah. Look, I don't know exactly how they found out. I'm guessing that maybe one of the clientele got caught in the cubicle in a nightclub or something. And the undercover police might have said, hey, tell us where you got this and you won't get a
Yeah.
criminal record. Maybe that's what happened. I'm guessing that's what happened. So, of course, this person's given them my number, my name, and then they've started the investigation. So, I don't know. I don't care. Obviously, when I first went in, I had this like, I was in that victimizing state. So I was like, oh, I want to find out who dobbed me in. I'm gonna get him back, all that sort of stuff. But after a while, I just realized that it's not worth it. It's like, let's move on. Let's just get past
Mm.
this. Who cares about how it happened, how it all fell apart? It happened, and probably blessing in disguise that it happened. Like there's silver linings to this. I don't wish it upon anyone at all. I really encourage people to avoid doing what I was doing at every cost. You know, communicate it. If you're in a bit of a tough situation financially, don't resort to selling drugs, as lucrative as it can be, because at one point you will get caught. You might get told that you're not going to get caught, but you will. It'll come crashing down in one way or another, whether it's getting caught or through your relationships or just through that whole vicious cycle of that environment. It's
Do you
not
have
it's
people
not good.
getting envious as well? Because like it's maybe not you getting caught, but with your relationships, people might think, oh, you're getting away with this, and then they get envious at you having those possessions. Like, well, I don't know if the police. I know I'm pretty sure it's estimated by a gram, so I'd say it's nearly $750,000 street value. People be like, you have this much, they would be getting like, yeah, jealous, envious. Would that like play a part in your friendships with mates, like knowing if you can trust them and that sort of stuff?
Maybe, maybe I haven't really thought into that much. I didn't have any enemies. That was another silver lining. I didn't
Mm.
have any enemies through that. So I don't think there would be any reason for someone to dob me in because they're envious, but I could be wrong. But
I just mean the way people treat you. Like, would you ever have mates like thinking, I'll work hard for this, you're cheating, sort of thing? Did you ever get that?
not really, because I was still working hard as well. I was
Mm.
still a full-time tradie. Like, I never stopped working, and I think that's where the benefit of growing up on the dairy farm comes in, because that work ethic was like ingrained in me. I wasn't going to stop working because this cash flow was coming in from somewhere else. It was like, this is just part of me. This is what we do. We work hard. We work hard for our money. So people were seeing me still working. That they just assumed that, whatever story I told them, that I decided to buy a nice car instead of go on that holiday, or I decided to
Mm.
buy a nice motorbike because I didn't do this other thing. I didn't buy the house or whatever. Like, a lot of tradies earn good money and they have all the toys, and no one
Yeah.
questions that, because it is one of the higher paying careers, especially in Melbourne. Um, at some point soon, tradies will be overtaking doctors and lawyers with their income.
Mm.
It's going to get to that point soon. So, in saying that, yeah, I didn't really feel that people were jealous or envious of me, but you never know. Maybe they were behind the scenes. They didn't communicate that, but yeah, it sort of got to that point where, and this is another thing, right? Like, I wasn't showing it off either. Like, I wasn't flaunting it. I was still just doing my everyday thing, going to work. Um, and yeah, other people around me had more expensive things. The
Mm.
network that I started hanging around, they had Ferraris and Lamborghinis. So
Mm.
me driving the C63, Mercedes C63, like, was pretty standard. So I didn't really stand out. Which could be another silver lining. I don't know, but yeah, it did get to the point where it felt a bit uncomfortable being around that network, because when you look back, I grew up on a dairy farm with Massey Ferguson tractors and like uh, the old paddock bombs. Like,
Yeah.
there's no Ferraris and Lamborghinis out there. So it was a bit foreign for me, and it did feel a bit strange, but it felt exciting at the same time. Uh, they are all exciting and nice things to have, but these days, going through what I went through, the materialistic things don't mean shit. To me,
Yeah.
anyway. They might mean more to other people, and that's fine. But to me, I don't care if I am riding a push bike, which I am now. And I'm so much happier now riding a push bike in Estepona, in this beautiful location, Spain, than sitting in the passenger seat of that friend's Ferrari or Lamborghini, and sometimes borrowing the Ferrari and Lamborghini for the weekend. Like, I'm so much happier now. I get to spend more time with my family, and this is what I suppose led on to us making the move out of Melbourne. Because when I came home from that 2.5 years in prison and not seeing my family because of the COVID lockdowns, it was all about, okay, how much time can we spend together now? How much more time can we spend together? And of course, as soon as I came home, I was thrown back into the workforce, because you have to in Melbourne. You have to earn a fair bit to survive. Even we're living in Mount Waverley, so it wasn't like a very expensive suburb. We're living in a 2-bedroom unit, but the living expenses, everything that comes with maintaining a family with young kids, it became very expensive. So of course, I'm back into working 10 to 12-hour days on the tools. I'm leaving when it's dark, when Xavier's still in bed. I'm coming home when he's about to go to bed. And I felt like I came out of prison and I was thrown into another prison of working full time.
Can you talk about what that's like, not seeing your family for so long and then trying to integrate back into a house like that and going from a prison environment to, oh yeah, like you're my wife and son now. It would be such a, like, for Xavier, who's this bloke,
Yeah.
what, talk about what that was like and what it was like missing, pretty important parts of his life as well. Like how do you feel when you have to go through that sort of stuff, like missing milestones and that sort of thing?
To sum it up, it was traumatizing. It was traumatizing for not only me, it was traumatizing for Alice, it was traumatizing for Xavier, even though he didn't know it because he was so young. It was traumatizing for my family. Uh, and it was really hard. It was so challenging because the only contact we had was a 30-minute video call, I think once a fortnight, and 12-minute phone calls. Okay, so that was the only connection we had. Obviously, I was writing letters. I was writing a letter once a week to Alice every single week, and sometimes it would blow out to 10 pages. So I became really good at writing, journaling, all that sort of stuff. But not seeing them in person, it's a whole different challenge. It cuts deep, like it cuts really deep, especially seeing your son grow from 4 months old to 2.5 years old, or nearly 3 years old, through a video link.
Mm.
That was super challenging, and somehow we maintained the connection. Alice did an amazing job. My family did an amazing job by always speaking about me, always showing Xavier photos, videos, and making sure that he knew who I was. So when I did come home 2.5 years later, or close to 3 years later, um, he knew who I was, but it was so different for him to have a man in the house, right?
Mm.
When I walked up to the front door and he greeted me at the front door, I broke down like I was a mess, an absolute mess. Couldn't speak. Like I was on my knees crying. And of course, he was a bit taken back by that because Alice had obviously, hyped it up that daddy's coming home and it's going to be exciting and it's going to be fun and all that stuff. And then here's this daddy guy rocking up at the door and he's now on his knees crying. Like, of course, as a nearly 3-year-old, he's thinking that he's done something wrong. So that was super challenging, but the bond happened really quick because Alice had done the work while I was away. So it only took a few weeks for him to start to really warm up to me. And that was really an amazing thing. It was a beautiful thing to build that bond with him so fast. But then adapting to reality and reintegrating into society was the hardest part because you're literally between four walls or a fence in prison, and you've got maybe 400, 500 square meters for 2.5 years. So the same environment, the same people, very toxic environment, very
Yeah,
dangerous
what was it
environment.
like? Yeah,
Oh, yeah, pretty crazy. It's like what you see on the movies. It's just
yeah.
like that. It's toxic. It's dangerous. It's traumatizing. Yeah, it's traumatizing, especially if you're not used to that environment, which I wasn't. Uh, but there is some guys that were in there that were used to that environment, and that was their thing. They would go out, they would be released, and they would be back there a month later
Yeah.
because they actually felt uncomfortable on the outside. They felt comfortable on the inside because that was their thing. They'd just repeat offenders, and sometimes they would offend just to go back in because they felt so uncomfortable on the outside. And that was really sad to see. I just couldn't understand it because I wanted to go home so bad. So whenever I saw those guys come back in, I would just be shocked. I'd question. I'm like, what are you doing back here? How can you want to be here rather than out there with your family and friends and freedom? And
Do you have a
they didn't.
thought of why that is? Obviously, it's the familiar, like literally the familiar hell. It's all they know. Do you think that it's because they
Yeah,
lack purpose? Like you had a pretty clear purpose of why you needed to get home. They got nothing
yeah,
really driving them.
yeah. I think so. I think not knowing their purpose, not really knowing what their passions were, and obviously knowing your passion is going to lead you to your purpose, but maybe not having the family support either, not having good relationships on the outside, not having a good network and support, really. I think that would play a big part. But then also spending so much time incarcerated, you get comfortable in a way. You get this, there's this routine that happens. It's like Groundhog Day. You do your thing, the same thing every day, and it becomes very comfortable, even though it is still a dangerous environment. And then, of course, you come out to the big wide world, and there's just so much happening. That it's so fast paced. It's even just navigating across the roads and down the street, because you don't have that in there. You don't have roads. You don't have cars. You don't have lots of people walking past you down the street. You don't have shopping centres. So it's very confronting when you come out, because there's just so much happening, and there's just so much to take in and to navigate. And it was really challenging. The first 6 months of being home was so hard. It was so challenging because, 2.5 to 3 years inside with that same routine. And I had a pretty good routine. Like I tapped into journaling, reading books, doing all the educational courses. I started a university degree in health and exercise science, which was super hard to get into. They do not promote that in there. It's like you've got to battle. You've got to battle. If you want to better yourself in prison, you've got to fucking battle for it. And I did, and I had to wait because it was a wait list. There was only 5 guys that could do it out of essentially 900 prisoners in there, 900 inmates. They allowed 5 people to do a university degree. So you can see that they obviously don't encourage that. I surrounded myself with the better ones, the guys that were training every day. They were looking after their health. They were at the education hub doing the little short courses, the ones that you could do. So I did all the right things, I think. And, I jumped on the committee. So I was trying to help bring better conditions to the inmates, because I felt like, all right, well, I can see how challenging it is in here for some people, especially with the food. And I knew how important it was to eat well, because it affects your physical health and it affects your mental health as well. So I was trying to encourage better food to come into the prison rather than just this processed shit. And it's like what you see on the movies. It's just a production line of crap. So, I felt like I could add some value by jumping on the committee and trying to bring some better options to the inmates. So, with all that, I felt like I put myself in a good position to get out early, which I did. I got my parole date on the day, which some people don't. A lot of people will have to wait and wait and wait and not know exactly when they're going to go home. So I'm very grateful that I got to go home on my release date. But of course, you've got parole to deal with when you come out. So I had 3 years of parole after that 3 years in prison. That's another challenge on top of trying to integrate back into the community. You've got weekly check-ins with the parole officer. You've got restrictions, curfews. You've got some people have to wear the GPS tracking anklet. Thankfully, I didn't have to wear that. But hey, it's all part of getting out on your parole date. It's freedom with a bit of restriction. Not allowed to travel interstate, all those things. So we navigated that for the next 3 years. We always said that once this parole period is done, we want to experience real freedom. We want to experience travel. We want to experience different cultures. We want to get away from the Melbourne winters. We want to surround ourselves with more like-minded people. We want to give our boys, and of course we had another boy, Orlando, we want to give our boys experience and choice and options and variety, because we didn't have it for like 6 years. 6 years, we were like, this is all you can do. And you just got to stay there and just don't try and do any better. Don't try and go here. Don't try and progress. Just stay there and just stay stuck. Okay, so we dealt with that for 6 years. Fair enough, because of my bad decision or decisions. But yeah, as soon as the shackles were off at the end of that parole period, we had everything planned, booked. We connected with a world schooling community. which is how we got here to Spain, Estepona. Such a beautiful location. I'm meeting so many expats here that have said they've tried to live in other places around the world, other beautiful places, and this place here they've chosen to live full time because it's such an amazing place. We connected with this community, this world schooling community called Boundless Life. And it just ticked all the boxes for us because we didn't know where to start with world schooling. We didn't know where to go. We didn't know who to speak to about it. We didn't know where to live, where the good safe spots were for families. Boundless Life have been built on that, I suppose, that support of providing the whole package. The schooling for the kids, which is not traditional schooling. It's like an education hub or an education centre with real qualified teachers, but the kids are out learning through play. They're learning through different cultures. They provide the accommodation. So if you need an apartment or a villa, if you need to work in a co-working space like I am in now, where there's different office rooms, there's these soundproof booths, they provide that. Then they provide like a family hub or a family lounge where you can go and chill out if you need to, or you can take the kids. There's some toys there. There's Wi-Fi, there's food, coffee, all that stuff. So they provide the full package and the community where you are immersed in a community of like-minded parents who are all trying to find something different for their kids, something different for themselves. They're after variety, they're after choice, they're after opportunities, different cultures, different languages, different foods, like all the things you get when you travel. And the beauty of Boundless Life is, and I know I'm pumping it up because I'm so excited about it because we're here experiencing, and I'm literally living it right now. The community events, they have movie nights for the kids so the parents can go out for dinner and a couple of drinks and just network. They have hiking events. We did downhill mountain bike riding, which wasn't quite downhill, but we had e-bikes and it was a great experience. We were out in nature. We went and rode to this 13th century castle, which was just epic. Like, I can't do that back in Melbourne. There's no 13th century castles in Melbourne. There's like things that we're exposed to here. The cobblestone streets, the beautifully like manicured streets, the food is epic. They don't spray glyphosate over everything. Like, I can eat bread and have dairy and I'm not getting bloated, and like the freaking strawberries I had the other day were like just
That looks amazing.
like literally a flavor bomb. It was crazy. I'm like, how is this possible? The strawberries back home don't taste like anything unless you grow it yourself. But like, just the community of like-minded families, and we have sharing circles where the parents can share their wisdom and experience if other people want to learn about it. I've been able to follow my passion in health and fitness and run group sessions for the parents on the beach. Like, when I was in prison, I had this vision of like, imagine helping other people improve their health out in nature, whether that's in a park, bare feet on the grass, or it's on a beach. And we're starting the day bare feet on the sand, moving our bodies intentionally. Like, that was just a dream. And then, of course, when I came out of prison, I was thrown back into the workforce on the tools because they were the skills I had back then. I managed to do my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness at night, online, in the mornings, before and after work. So I juggled that as well. But again, being here and having options, like having access to other locations around the world. So they not only have Spain, they have Portugal, they have Italy, they have Greece, they have Bali, they have Japan. I think there's one in Uruguay, but like, they're growing as well. So there's going to be more locations where you can do this. And it's obviously all based around the kids. So, if you don't have kids, it's probably not a thing you can do with Boundless Life. You could get a job with Boundless Life, but it's mainly based around the kids, which is awesome. And, like having the work-life balance over here. And one of the reasons why we chose Spain as our first location with Boundless Life was because they still have siestas here.
Mm.
So imagine this in Melbourne, right? It'd be very hard to imagine businesses closing at 2 p.m., right? They go have lunch, they socialize, they have a nap, they relax, and then they reopen at 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., something. It just wouldn't happen, right?
Mm.
Families are out here, late dinners, the kids are out running around the streets. Yes, they go to bed later, but then they also sleep in. Like they don't start the day until maybe 8, 9 o'clock. Like I'm running 6 a.m. beach sessions. There's no one out. Like it is a ghost town at 6, 7 a.m.
Yeah,
It's
right.
weird, but they're up later. They're up socializing. They're up enjoying the food. They're enjoying their company, their family. The, the the main thing is to spend more quality time with your family here. And
Mm.
that's what the locals do. So business comes second. Close the freaking doors. Close the doors because we're going to spend time with our loved ones. The business will be there tomorrow. It's like that slower paced lifestyle. It's really
Yeah.
nice. It's a bit strange. Like it feels weird because we came from Melbourne. We came from the Melbourne hustle. We came from that, hey, if you're not busy, you're not successful kind of vibe. So it's been interesting adapting to that. We're probably, what are we, a month and a half in now, and I think we're just sort of starting to feel a bit more of the flow. So yeah, to be in this location and in this slower paced environment is such a blessing. Like we're so grateful. The
Mm.
weather, it's constantly warm. We're on the beach daily. Where we're staying is like a 200-meter walk to the beach. And that's the other thing. Boundless Life have based all the education hub and the family lounge and the working hub literally 100 meters from the beach. So at
Mm.
any moment you can walk outside and 100 meters, 200 meters, you're on the beach.
Yeah.
So this location is such a beautiful place. And, like we want to keep doing this now. We've had a taste of it. We cannot see ourselves going back to Victoria, to that stressful environment. We want to keep moving along the world schooling journey, I suppose, to the different locations and providing value where we can. Like if I can help other parents improve their health and fitness, and Alice can help them improve their nutrition along the way, it's such a key aspect to thriving in even this environment.
Mm.
So, I think long term, we'd love to do this for the next 5 years if we can, until Xavier and Orlando are at that point where they kind of need to be a bit more settled when they
Yeah.
hit their, early teens. But for now, when the boys are at this age, it's such an amazing opportunity to go and experience all these different places around the world and learn different languages and different cultures. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great.
That sounds so cool. So how's the Spanish going? Can you
Uh,
order food or
so
thank you,
it's like,
please?
yeah, all the basics, all the basics. But we're really trying hard to speak Spanish, even if we have to use the translator app when we go to the shops to order things or get shopping and whatever, communicating with the locals. We're trying to use the Spanish language, but we're also surrounded by a lot of English speaking people with Boundless Life, because a lot of them are, either from America or the UK, or we're the only Aussies here on this in this group.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of English speaking people here anyway, because there's a lot of expats. So you do sometimes get caught up just speaking English on a day to day, but there is little pockets of opportunities where you can just immerse yourself in the language, which we
Yeah. The
really
kids
want to
would
pick
really
it up.
benefit from that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
for sure. They're teaching Spanish at the school, of course. Um, so Xavier comes home and he's like, "Daddy, do you know what this piece of fruit here is in Spanish?" And I'm like, "I have no idea. Can you tell me?" And he'll tell me. So
Yeah.
they're just like little sponges. They just absorb everything, which is great. So they're teaching us, they're teaching us the language, which
Yeah.
is great.
Where
Yeah.
where do you reckon you go next? Italy sounds all right.
Uh, Italy sounds amazing. Portugal sounds amazing, but we're actually planning to head back towards Australia for Christmas. So we're going to do Bali on the next one, which is September, October, November, and then we'll be close to Australia to visit for Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this year, pretty much. After
Cool. So
that,
is it locked in? Like, can you stay? How do you, like you said, you're moving and you're going to do 3 months. How do you pack up and leave? Do they just,
yeah. So you pretty much do a 3-month stint. If you choose to just do this term, I suppose, because it's based on the school term here in Spain, you then have to book in advance your next location. So for us, we're about to book Bali as our next location. We probably should have booked it earlier, but I suppose we just wanted to get here and see what it was like first before we
Hmm.
committed to another one. But we've been blown away. We're so happy with the outcome and how it's all panned out and how much support we have and how easy it has been to integrate into a new place because a lot of things have taken care of. There's just so much support with Boundless Life, and I know there's other world schooling communities out there, but I think Boundless Life is the most established from our research. Um, but we're also open to exploring other world schooling communities as well that aren't as big and as established, and they might not have several different locations. They might just be Portugal, or they might just be, one of the Greek islands or somewhere like that. So once you once you start researching world schooling, there's so much happening. There's so much out there, and that was something that we didn't know anything about when we were in the little Mount Waverley bubble. Like, why would you go and look at anything else when you've just got this routine and this the local school just down the road, and that's what all the other people are doing, you know? So it's been great. It's been challenging. It's put us out of our comfort zone, which is where the magic happens. Obviously, uh, we can see ourselves staying here in Estepona, like long term. We'd love to, but we'd also get comfortable here, and we'd
hmm.
be in our comfort zone again. So I think moving to the next location is pushing us to grow as well. It's pushing us to meet new people. It's pushing us to be open to change, and of course for the kids as well. Like, yes, they're going to be unsettled for the first few weeks, but the amount of growth that happens in that small amount of time is unbelievable. To see
Hmm.
how much confidence Xavier has now, and Orlando, like, he's just seeing his big brother just making these new friends, speaking different languages, like different foods. They just adapt. They adapt so
Hmm.
quick. They're just like little chameleons. Like, they just slide in. It's, some big emotions at times. Yeah, we've had some massive meltdowns, and we've had to navigate our emotions through that as well. So that's helped us grow as parents, navigating the big meltdowns. And, we've had I just don't want to be here. I want to go back to Australia. I hate this place. And, we've had those big moments. But 10 minutes later, they're loving it again. So yeah, it's all about the growth. It's all about putting yourself out of your comfort zone.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%. Bali, I think will be sick too. There's so
Yeah,
much to do there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it offers so much. So coming back to Melbourne, I saw you post about doing a 5-day hike retreat. Tell us about that.
Yeah. I was waiting to get to this topic because I've got you to thank, or you and a few of the other Men Over Matter guys to thank for this, because one of the, I'd say it's life changing. One of the life changing experiences I had when I came home was connecting with you and a few of the other Men Over Matter guys. And actually, one in particular, Matt.
Mm.
And we actually met at a personal growth seminar. It was a 3-day immersive seminar. It was all based around fear. and navigating all the different fears that come up. It was the Art of Courage, I'm pretty sure it was called. And that's where I met Matt. And then obviously he told me about Men Over Matter. And through your men's movement, Men Over Matter, I went on a few of your hikes and camping trips and discovered a passion for that growth and surrounding myself with other men who are willing to do the work and seeing what you guys were building. And it just gave me this inspiration. And it reminded me of a moment that I had in prison as well, where I had this vision of going on these hikes with other men and really doing the work. And I'd heard about these hikes through the men's health magazines and things like that, the information that I had access to in prison. And I was like, oh, that sounds really good. Like I can see myself doing that. And I think that's what I was attracted to with Men Over Matter. The fact that you guys were getting out in nature, you're doing the hard work physically and mentally, and then you had that community where you could talk about it and open up. And then from that, Prime Men's Movement was born through myself and a good friend of mine, Jai. And we just thought that, you know what, there needs to be more men's movements. There needs to be more out there, because it's great that Men Over Matter's there, but Men Over Matter was based, say, in Victoria at the time, and Jai was in Cairns. And we're talking about this thing, and he's like, oh, we don't have anything like that up in Cairns. It sounds amazing. Like, do you think we could start our own thing? Like, we've got a network of like-minded men. And it just grew organically. And it grew through a WhatsApp group. And it grew to about 50 men really quickly. And we're like, holy shit, we need to move to a better platform. We need to move to a platform like School, which we're on now. And it's just a way where we can have courses and programs and better communication. And it's set out a bit easier to navigate. And now we're about to do our first hike, like Men Over Matter, where we can get out in nature as a group and do the hard work. Like this is going to be some hard hike. This is going to be, living with the bare essentials. And this reminds me of being stripped back to nothing when I went in prison, like literally the clothes stripped off my back. So we're going out into nature with just backpacks and the basics. And we've got to survive for 5 days. And this is a remote island where no one lives. So we literally have to do everything we need to do and help each other through it to survive through the elements. And then we get to do the work. We get to talk. We get to open up. We get to do the personal growth practices. We get to journal. We get to do the breath work. We get to do the hard physical work. We get to do the mindset stuff. Like, it's all based around being better men for not only ourselves, but for our loved ones and our community. And that's something that I never had growing up. I didn't have a group of men who were so focused on being better and being better for their partners and being better for the kids
And
and
I think not
their
at the
parents and their
detriment of
siblings.
someone else. Like footy clubs are so we got a goal to get better, but it's to beat someone else, to make someone else bad. We're not lifting each other up. It's to destroy someone else. And even the guys on your team, we're competing against each other for a position or a senior spot, or on a Saturday night we're tearing each other down. Whereas in
Yeah,
a
that's it.
community like that, it's only positive.
Yeah, exactly. And it just feels so good. Like it's a feel good movement. We benefit, like myself and Jai benefit greatly out of it, because we're growing as well. We're encouraging other men and leading other men to grow, but then at the same time, we are growing so much as well. So, we have such a variety of men in our movement, in our community now, from like a 17-year-old to a 50, mid 50s. So, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how fit you are. It doesn't matter what your story is and what financial situation you're in. It just doesn't matter. Like, all that stuff doesn't matter. As long as you are willing to do the work to be a better man, that's all we ask for. That's all you need.
Mm.
Literally just the open mind and the desire to be better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going really well. It's what do I say? Like, it's fulfilling. That's it.
Mm.
It's really fulfilling being a leader in this movement. And I feel like I can help other people navigate a lot of challenges in life because of what I went through. And there's another silver lining of what I went through, because if I didn't go through that hell in prison, I wouldn't have learnt so much about myself. And I wouldn't have learnt some of these skills and techniques to really like navigate emotionally and physically, and like all the different challenges that come up on a day-to-day basis. So
Mm.
yeah, I really encourage people to take hold of the challenges and just see how much you're growing from that. Yes, it's hard at the time. It's hard to get through some of those life challenges, but there's growth in there. There's growth, whether it's a lot, whether it's a little. There's going to be growth, because you're going to have to build resilience at some point to navigate through those challenges. So if you can tap into that, you're going to be a better version of yourself on the other side of it.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it gets the better of some people, and that's why suicide rates are so high. And that's another reason why we want to push this men's movement and get the awareness out there that there is people to speak to. There is communities out there that you can connect with and get things off your chest. Like, you don't have to suppress them and do the worst thing you could do, which is commit suicide.
Mm.
There's options. There's other options. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's awesome what you're doing. It'd be yeah, I wish I could go. It'd be sick. I'd love to do a 5-day hike as well. How did you acquire like you said, an island that no one lives on? How did you manage that? Who? Yeah.
The Hinchinbrook Island, just off Cairns, it's it's in demand now because so many people want to do this hike, but they only let a small number of people on the island at a time. So we had to book well in advance. Jai knew about it, but he didn't know how far in advance we had to book. So when we jumped on it, the spots were literally disappearing. I think they only let maybe 20 or 30 people on the island at once.
Yeah.
And we only managed to get 11 spots. So there was 11 spots for that date, or those 5 days. And we managed to snap them up like nearly, over 6 months ago. But yeah, they've kept it really remote, really like untouched. And a lot of people have said, like, when you look at the reviews, they're like, it reminds them of Jurassic Park. Like, it reminds them of just this place where there's no one
Yeah.
other than the wildlife. And you really have to switch into survival mode. Like, you have to go prepared, which the company that you book through, I think it's maybe a local government council or something that you book through, they also help you with navigating the trails and the things that you need to take to survive. Obviously, they let you know where
Like
the
they'll
fresh
give you
water
a
holes are.
list.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And obviously the spots where you can top up your water and things like that, the fresh water holes, and where the crocs are and where not to go, and when to cross that river, and like when not to cross
I
that
didn't even
river,
think
because
about Crocs. Yeah.
if you hit it at the wrong time, you're going to be going through a river with crocs in it. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah. Fuck.
So there's going to be some interesting times on this trek, but like I said, we're only going to grow through these challenges. We might fail at times, like we might completely fuck it up, but um, hey, it's going to be an experience. It's going to be a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Bloody hell.
we're going to do the best that we can with the information that we have. So yeah, it's going to be great. And
Fuck yeah.
we can switch off technology. I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to just being off grid, like no technology, no notifications, and just being there, being present with the men that have signed up and committed to the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be
5 days, no technology will be really getting right into the roots. It'll be sick.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
because
yeah.
we rely on it so much these days.
Mm, yeah. I think it's impossible to not have a transformative experience despite all the modalities and all the teachings you're going to give them. 5 days of being forced off your phone to connect with other people because guys are just so good at avoiding it and now they can't.
Yep,
And I think
that's
that'll be
it.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
massive
Forced
growth
to
phase.
face it all. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I was just checking my the time here and my battery is about to go, but what do you reckon we should wrap it up?
Yeah, I think that's a good segue in. If like you said, we've got a couple tickets, so if people want to buy them, where do they go?
Yeah, yeah. So we've actually got, I think now 2 spots left, and they can just reach out to myself or my friend Jai, who you'll see on my social media, Bronson / Interlandi. And yeah, the link's there in the bio to go to the Prime movement on school, and all the information's there. But yeah, just reach out through social media, and I can tell you more about it. But yeah, there's only 2 spots left, but I think they'll go pretty quick.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
So
it's
if
it's
you're
in
watching
October.
this,
It's
get
in
on it.
October, so yeah, we've still got some time up our sleeve.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
else is next? So Bali coming up, retreat. Anything else exciting on the horizon people should watch out for?
Yes. All right. So we haven't dived into this. Maybe this is for another episode. We are cutting ourselves off from the ATO. We have had enough of paying crazy taxes in Australia. So part of this move out of Australia is for the bigger picture to become tax residents somewhere else. And there is a lot better places in the world to be paying tax, if any, like zero. There is places in the world where you can pay zero tax. So
Mm.
you're working hard for your money and you want to keep your money, there is ways to do that. So we are planning and starting the process of disconnecting from the Australian Taxation Office. And it's not an easy process, but it can be done. And there is places around the world where you can set up and you don't have to live there full time.
Cayman
You can live
Islands?
in places. Yeah, that's one. Panama's another. Um Dubai is another.
Yeah. Singapore?
One of Yep, yep. Thailand, you pay a little bit of tax, but it's nothing like Australia. It's under 10% on income tax and capital gains. There's one of the Greek islands. Like, there's many places.
Yeah.
It just depends, like, where you're going to feel comfortable spending some of the year, because you will have to spend some of the time there. Uh,
I
but
could
there is
stay in Thailand
opportunities.
for a bit.
Yeah, there is opportunities as well to invest in somewhere like Dubai, like buy an investment property, and then you don't have to live there. You can just set up your business, your company, and your residence there, and you can live anywhere. You don't have to live there. So there is ways to do it where you don't have to live there, but
Hmm.
pay zero tax. So that's really interesting, and we're excited about that because we feel like we've been working so hard and literally just handballing so
30,
much
30 to
money to the government,
40%.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and they're not spending it right. They're not looking after the Australian people. We can so much to go
Yeah.
into
It's
on
a
that
whole nother
topic.
rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're going to share the journey. We're going to be open about it. We're going to share the journey on our socials, myself and Alice, because we feel that there's so many people that would be interested in that, and so many people have showed interest in that. So yeah, from here we're going to go to Bali. May spend some time in Thailand. We'll be back in Australia for Christmas. And then potentially after that, we might end up in Colombia for a while. So yeah, there's literally the world is our oyster. Once you get moving and you can navigate the traveling challenges with kids, you kind of get used to it. You know what to expect. You know that there's going to be some big meltdowns before the plane, on the plane, and after the plane. But if you go prepared, you can get through it. You can get through it,
Yeah.
and it can be enjoyable. It can be enjoyable and exciting. So, Prime is going to keep growing. We've got the October trek. We've got here in Estepona for a while, and then literally setting up our new lives in a different place. Not sure where.
Mm.
So that's exciting
So
too. Just not
exciting.
knowing, that's spontaneity. Like just not knowing exactly where we're going to be next year.
Yeah.
It's scary and it's exciting. It's more exciting, but there is a little bit of fear there, but that's only natural.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I feel in a similar boat. I don't know where I'll be this time next year, but just keep following what excites me, and then usually works out.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah,
enough
that's right.
evidence to I've got enough evidence to prove that I've survived 4 interstate moves in the last 2 years. I'll
Yeah,
keep
exactly.
keep surviving, keep having fun. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, just enjoy it along the way, and what you've been doing is taking action. Like
Yeah,
you can talk about it and talk about it and talk about it, but if you don't take action and do it, well, you're just going to be left wondering for the rest of your life.
yeah. So, what was the school called again? Just for people to go and have a look at that.
Yeah, so Boundless Life. So
Oh,
that's
so
another.
I mean your school community, Prime.
Oh, okay. So Prime. It's called the Prime Men's Movement.
Yeah,
Um, but the link's on my Instagram and Facebook. So if you get lost navigating through the school platform,
yeah.
just jump on my Insta and it's there. But it's
And is that
Prime
free or
Men's
paid?
Movement. It's subscription model at the moment. We're just
Yeah,
testing that out.
yeah.
But there's a lot of value in there. Once you get in, it's a very minimal investment. It's like $1 a day, I think, or like $7 a week. So it's such a small investment for the value that's in there.
Mm,
We have monthly breathwork sessions with a breathwork facilitator. We have monthly check-ins, so we can jump on a Zoom call and literally just get whatever's on our chest off and just network with like-minded men.
mm,
And then we have high-valued individuals that jump on once a month and share value, like whether that's in investing, whether that's in health and fitness, whether that's in nutrition. Like we bring someone on that's really like well established in that space,
yeah,
and they just share value for an hour, like literally just free value.
yeah,
So it's like having a new coach in your pocket once a month.
yeah. That's sick.
Yeah, so it's all happening.
Love it. That's awesome. It's awesome to see you kicking goals, mate. It's inspiring as well. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, thank you. No, I love the support. I love the encouragement. It definitely helps. Um, and the more people that reach out and say things like you just said, and the fact that I've shared with you, like how you were a pivotal moment and interaction for me, like when I
Mm,
first came out of prison, meeting you and networking with you has opened my mind up and my eyes to different things as well. So as long as we encourage each other through it and not stay in the shadows and just watch, like hit the like button, drop a comment,
yeah,
reach out, for a combo. Like we're always open for it.
yeah, 100%.
So,
It takes 2 seconds to click a like or a reshare, and it might not seem like a lot, but it definitely helps us.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to
yeah,
ask, how did you guys do that? Like how are you navigating that with kids? Or how are you able to bounce back from being in prison and going through bankruptcy? Like just ask.
mm, yeah,
I'm an open book and you're the same, you're inviting those questions, those inquiries, I suppose.
yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
love it.
Get
Let's
get
let's go deep.
curious.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. Well, everyone watching, listening, if you have made it to the end, I would really appreciate if you did click follow on the podcast or subscribe on YouTube, however you're reaching this, because it does do a lot. Give it a like, comment, whatever. But Bronson, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll have to run it back soon.
Thank you.
I think you should hear this.